بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. we'll read إن شاء الله حديث جابر رضي الله عنه.
قال المؤلف رحمه الله وله عن جابر أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أتى مزدلفة فصلى بها المغرب والعشاء بأذان واحد وإقامتين وله إليه مسلم رواه مسلم.
نعم. وله عن ابن عمر. وله يعني مسلم. نعم.
Muslim also reported from Jabir radiallahu anhu the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to Muzdalifah and offered added both the Maghrib and Isha prayers with one adhan and two iqamas. وله عن ابن عمر رضي الله تعالى عنهما جمع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بين المغرب والعشاء بإقامة واحدة وزاد أبو داود لكل صلاة وفي رواية له ولم ينادي بواحدة منهما. And also narrated by Ibn Umar that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam combined between the Maghrib and Isha with one iqamah. Abu Dawud added for every prayer and in a narration for him, and he did not call out for either of them.
call أذان. ينادي يعني أذان. النداء هنا هو الأذان.
وعن ابن عمر وعائشة رضي الله عنها.
بس. بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. وللإمام مسلم عن جابر أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أتى المزدلفة فصلى بها المغرب والعشاء. This hadith in Sahih Muslim known as hadith صفة حج النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. This is the hadith with Jabir رضي الله عنه, and it's a very long hadith where in Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم Hajj was described by Jabir رضي الله عنه, and it is the most reliable narrations and how the Prophet ﷺ performed Hajj. هو أعظم ما روي في حجة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وأكثرها تفصيلا, the most detailed one. And Jabir رضي الله عنه paid so much attention to the Hajj النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, and he perfected this narration. And he narrated this to so many of the companions and the successors, and became like al-mansak. You know, you have like a Umrah manual or Hajj manual. So the manual for Hajj actually based on this narration of Jabir radiallahu anhu arda. So in the hadith he said, he was describing what the Prophet did first. قال حتى أتى المزدلفة فصلى بها المغرب والعشاء. He came to Muzdalifah and he prayed Maghrib and Isha with one adhan and two iqama. ولم يسبح بينهما شيء. And I'll explain that in a little bit. But here you find in Muslim, Ibn Umar radiallahu anh reported something different. And that's why I told you, Jabir radiallahu anh put so much attention and perfect the narration of Al-Hajj. That's why in any time we find a contradiction between riwayat Jabir and anyone else, Al-Ulama always take Jabir's over the other person. Because Jabir radiallahu anhu was so close to the Prophet ﷺ, and he really from the beginning said that he is so dedicated to document this Hajj in details. And usually the one who always documented the Hajj as the Prophet ﷺ's life, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. But Abu Hurairah didn't go for Hajj this يعني with the Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم. لماذا؟ لأن أبا هريرة رضي الله عنه كان في عيادة أمه, because he was taking care of his mother who was sick and couldn't travel. So Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu sacrificed al-Hajj ma'an Nabi sallallahu alayhi for his mother. And that's something worth noticing. Anyway, so Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu min hadith Sa'id ibn Tariq Sa'id ibn Jubayr said that he combined between Maghrib and Isha bi Jam'. Jam' it means Muzdalifah, and I'll explain to you why it was called Jam' and why it is called Muzdalifah. It's a nice thing to know. صلى المغرب ثلاثة والعشاء ركعتين بإقامة واحدة. He prayed Maghrib 3 rakahs, Isha 2 rakahs with one iqamah for both. That's how Abu Dawud radiallahu rahimahullah reported. But also there is another narration for Sunan Abi Dawud, not from the way or the chain of narration through Sa'id ibn Jubayr, لا, بل من طريق الزهري عن سالم بن عبد الله. الزهري said that Salim ibn Abdullah said that Ibn Umar said بإقامة واحدة لكل صلاة, with one iqamah for each salah. So the second narration explained the first one. So he said one iqamah in the first one, he meant one for each. Okay? And this will go with Jabir's narration, exactly, it will be in the same line, no contradiction. Ibn Umar radiallahu anh, when he said one iqamah for each, what Ibn Hajar said? Abu Dawood, صح? Didn't he say Abu Dawood? وله في رواية أبي داود. And to be honest with you, this is like, it's very strange to me, because one iqamah for each salah, that's lafz al-Bukhari من حديث ابن عمر. That's al-Bukhari reported this from Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu وأرضاه. Anyway, do you think we should understand both narrations as this one explain the other one? Like whoever said he made one iqamah, okay, and the other narration said one iqamah for each. Do you think that these narrations explain each other, or one of them wrong and the other one correct? يعني هل ممكن أن نجمع بينهم? Can we reconciliate between the two and said those who said one iqamah, they meant one iqamah for each salah. They meant that. So that will go along with the other one. Is that possible, that that's what they meant? No doubt the narrators are Arab, and no one who is who very familiar with the Arabic language and have the command of the Arabic language, like the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, will expect so. Why? Because if you say one iqamah, he prayed Maghrib and Isha for one iqamah. If he meant one iqamah for each, that's an obvious. We don't have a salah with two iqamas. You see what I'm saying? There is no salah with two iqamas. We don't say two iqamah for one salah. So he doesn't need to say one iqamah and he meant for each. That's an obvious. You don't need to state it that. So when he said one iqamah and he stopped, he actually meant, the narrator, one iqamah for both. He's trying to make a point other than the obvious. Okay? And those who narrated it one iqamah for each salah, they're trying to make a point that it was two iqamah for two salats. So that's why many of Ahl al-Ilm rahimahumullah said, actually you cannot say that both are acceptable. They said the first one, which is min tariq Sa'id bin Jubair, shadda. It is weak narration. Just for those who like to look at it. And here, why I brought this up? I brought this up because Talib al-Ilm, he has to understand something when it comes to the weakness of narration. The weakness of narration do not only rely on the chain of narrators. You have an excellent chain of narrators like Sa'id bin Jubair and Ibn Umar. But we say it is weak by looking at the text. Okay? We look at and when we recognize the shudud by looking at the meaning of the text. If there is a clear contradiction, it doesn't make sense to reconciliate, we say this one is weak. طيب. And also Usama bin Zayd narrated في البخاري صلى الله عليه وسلم صلاهما بإقامتين. He prayed both salah with two iqamas. Okay? And in Sunan Abi Dawood he said one for each. So here we see very clearly many narrations say that two iqamas, not one. طيب. Also there is another problem in the narration of Ibn Umar that it never mentioned adhan. He said he's praying Maghrib and Isha with iqama. Didn't even mention any adhan. طيب. Also, had the narration of Usama ibn Zayd radiallahu an, he said the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to Muzdalifah, he made wudu, a perfect wudu, then the iqamah was made and he prayed Maghrib. Then everyone went back to their tent or where their camel and their family. Okay? Then later on the iqamah was made and he prayed Isha. And the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not pray in between. طيب. Here there is no mention of adhan. I have a question for you. Let's flip. So Ibn Umar didn't say adhan. Usama ibn Zayd didn't mention the adhan. Who mentioned the adhan? Jabir. Why can't we say Jabir is shadh? Jabir is weak. He contradicted the other two narrations. And we reject the narration of Jabir. Why didn't we say, we said the same. We said Usama and Jabir said two iqamah, Ibn Umar said one iqamah, so that narration is not acceptable. So why don't we look at it the same way? It's not pick and choose. It is actually kind of both, all of them present. Because the adhan is obvious to be called. We don't have any record of salat, 5 daily prayers, to be established without adhan. So there is no need to mention the adhan. So the Sahabi doesn't feel the need for mentioning the adhan because it's obvious. How many times he said, Nabi came and he prayed Asr. Like when they missed Fajr, he prayed Fajr. They never mentioned the adhan because it was obvious. Jabir radiallahu anh stated the obvious. We call this ziyadat ilm. This adding more information. There is a challenging issue when it comes to ilm al-hadith. How to differentiate between mu'arada wa ziyada. Just adding information, adding extra information, and that addition do not contradict the rest of the narrator. Let's say you have 4 people narrated something. Then the 5th narrated the same thing with extra information. When do we say that extra information acceptable, not acceptable? Ibn Rajab rahimahullah mentioned that fi Sharh Ilal al-Tirmidhi in a beautiful way, in a lengthy way. He said, we look at this extra information. If it contradicts what the other people said, we rejected it. If it makes no sense, we rejected it. Or if the narrator is weak, but we talk about all trustworthy. But if it doesn't, it's just adding extra information, we accept it. I give you an example. Many companions said, in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he makes tasbih, he used to count tasbih with his hand. About what? Maybe 14 narrators said that. One of them, Qudamah bin Zaid, said with his right hand. Everyone else never said with right hand. All of them, he said, he used to count the tasbih with his hand. This narrator said with his right hand. Right hand, that extra description contradicts what was said by the other narrators? Or that an extra information? That's why we don't say this is shudud ala sahih. You see how sometimes it can be tricky. يعني النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم في خطبة العيد, all the narration mentioned that he did 2 khutbahs. There's one narration said that he did not do 2 khutbah, only 1 khutbah. Yani he did not have a pause. You know when you give the khutbah, you sit, then you stand up again. He didn't. One narration said he didn't. Some ulama said this is shudud, because all the Sahaba were there, okay, and they saw that. So he contradicted what the rest said. Some said, no, maybe this is one Eid different than the other Eids. Maybe they were talking about the common practice in Eid. So, and it can be tricky, and I do believe it's weak. And I do believe that's not correct. Eid has to have 2 khutbahs like Jumu'ah. You see? So here there is a tricky part. I accept that, but I just want you to be aware of the concept. التفريق بين الزيادة والمعارضة. Just extra information or contradicting. So here we said it's contradicting because his extra information, because it's obvious. Yani, nothing in Hadith Ibn Umar. If Ibn Umar said, and he did not make adhan, here will be there is a contradiction. Versus he said 1 iqamah. The other one said no, 2 iqamah. You cannot combine between these 2. There is one of them is wrong. Okay. طيب. So he said, also, طيب, what if someone said, maybe Usama ibn Zayd, let me see, what kind of dinner you guys had. What if someone tell you, la, we accept the both, because what if Usama ibn Zayd and Ibn Umar narrated one incident and Jabir narrated another incident? Maybe Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did this 1 year and did another year this one. What do you guys say? Sisters, let's see the sisters. What do you guys say? If somebody tried to reconciliate, he said, Ya akhi, Ibn Umar narrated what happened in one time, and Usama narrated what happened another time. Like in Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, once did this and once did that. He did Hajj only one time in his life. Okay, so that doesn't work. Because the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam only made 1 Hajj in his lifetime. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Very good. طيب. المزدلفة. Anybody knows why Muzdalifah called Muzdalifah? Ya Shaykh Ammar, you go to Hajj every year. Okay, that's something you can use next year with your group. Muzdalifah comes from which word? Zalafa. Excellent. Min al-izdilaf, which it means you come near. Yes?
Based on the structure of the word, it's ism makan, because it has the min at the beginning. So that means that it's the place that you come near. So you said that the root word means to come near. So since it's ism makan, it would be the place that you come near to Allah.
Very good. Actually, excellent. That's one of the things that they said. Because after Arafah, you are so purified, and now you are going near to Allah and near to the house of Allah. Because where is Muzdalifah? Between Arafah and Mina and Mecca. So it bring you closer to the Kaaba. He said that's one thing. Also, they said because in Muzdalifah comes also from the word Zalafa, come near. They said that where Adam came near to Hawa, they were looking for each other and searching for each other, then he found her there and he come near to her. And we call it Muzdalifah because they basically come close to each other again in Muzdalifah after they were separated when they sent down to earth. But there is no proof for that. Also, the word is Zalafa. It means the part from the night. Anybody remember any verse? وَزُلَفًا مِنَ اللَّيْلِ صح? وَزُلَفًا مِنَ اللَّيْلِ. الزُلَف من الليل, what means? It means part of the night. And specifically, the beginning of the night. وَزُلَفًا مِنَ اللَّيْلِ, يعني part of the beginning of the night that you pray. So he said it was called Muzdalifah because people come to it in the beginning of the night, which is after Maghrib, صح? Okay. Why the beginning of the night called Zulaf anyway? Because all the word Zalafat means came near. Because when the night starts, you become near to the end of the night. The night goes fast. You become near to the Fajr. The moment you enter the night just go very fast after that. طيب. Also, if you notice, Ibn Umar said, صلى بجمع. Muzdalifah also, and have another word for it called jam'. What's jam' means? Combine. No, combining. Why Muzdalifah called jam', which it means combining or putting to get two things together? Because we combine Maghrib and Isha there. That's one opinion. Also, they said because people gathered. Okay? People gathered from all over Arafah and that place. They gathered all in Muzdalifah, which is a small place. It's not big. So people gather there. Also, they said that this is the place where Adam and Eve gathered together. فَسُمِّيَ الجَمْعِ جَمَعَ اللَّهُ بَيْنَهُمَا. Anybody knows there is a third name for Muzdalifah? There is a specific place in it has a name. It's called Al-Mish'ar al-Haram. طيب. Al-Mish'ar يعني المعلم, the sign for the religion. Also, they call it, maybe you'll find this in some books of fiqh, and for those who are interested, تسمى قزح. قزح, it means the horn. Okay? Because there is a place in it like this, like the horn, and high, and that's where the imams stand, where this is Mish'ar al-Haram. It's one of the signs. That's where the Prophet ﷺ stood and he was making dua. طيب. Ibn Umar said, or the hadith said, he made the Salat al-Maghrib and Isha, وَلَمْ يُسَبِّحْ بَيْنَهُمَا. He did not make tasbih between the two salah. What tasbih means? Praying sunnah. Or saying Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. Praying the 2 rak'ah sunnah. Okay? Praying the 2 rak'ah sunnah. How do we know that? Because في صحيح Muslim, another narration, Ibn Umar, قال صلى ثم ذهب إلى خيمته فنظر حيث صلى فإذا رجال يصلون فقال ما يصنع هؤلاء قالوا يسبحون. In one of the narration, he found people praying after the Maghrib, and they said, what are they doing? They said, they're making tasbih. What that means, they're praying the nafila, the 2 rak'ah after Maghrib. Okay? Then Ibn Umar said, if I was going to pray the sunnah, لو كنت مسبحا لأتممت صلاتي. If I'm going to pray the 2 rak'ah sunnah, I would have prayed my Salat al-Isha full 4 rak'ah. Okay? So that means he saw them after Isha praying the sunnah. He said, I will do that. But because when you traveler, you shortening the prayer and you don't pray the sunnah. So the point is, at-tasbih means salat in-nafil. Why? Because you say a lot, Subhanallah, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, Subhana Rabbi al-Azim. You make a lot of tasbih during the salah. طيب. ولم يسبح سبحة المغرب ولا سبحة العشاء في رواية. He did not pray سبحة المغرب, يعني the 2 sunnah of al-Maghrib, nor the 2 sunnah of al-Isha. What we learn from this narration? Number 1, this hadith, very clear evidence that when you are traveling, you don't pray the Ratiba Sunnah. Anybody knows what's the Ratiba Sunnah? What are the Sunnah Ratiba? 2 rak'ah before Fajr, 4 rak'ah before Dhuhr, 2 rak'ah after Dhuhr, then 2 rak'ah after Maghrib, 2 rak'ah after Isha. Okay? Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he used to travel, he would only pray the 2 rak'ah before Fajr. And he would pray his witr. He never missed these 2, traveling or residence. So if you're travel, you still pray the 2 rak'ah for Fajr, Sunnat al-Fajr, the Sunnah of Fajr, and al-witr. Your witr, if it's 3, if it's 5, if it's 9, if it's 11, whatever prayer you used to. طيب. Question. Can the traveler pray any volunteer salah? Yeah, absolutely. Nabi sallallahu was found in Mecca while he's traveling, praying 8 rak'ah in the daytime. Some ulama said that was duha prayer. It might be the duha prayer. So yes, you can pray like volunteer prayer. طيب, what we learn from this hadith? We learn from this hadith that when we combine between two salah, we only call one adhan and we do what? Two iqamas. And this is the strongest opinion among the fuqaha. Is there a difference of opinions? Yes. Absolutely yes. I don't know how many opinions you would like to see, and the point is not how many, but how ulama arrived to these opinions. Actually, there's 5 different positions among the fuqaha. And we have 4 madhab, famous. We have 5 madhabs actually in this issue. The first opinion says, whenever you combine between 2 salah, you make 2 adhans and 2 iqama. Adhan and iqama, then adhan and iqama. And that's the position of Imam Malik rahimahullah. And some ulama said that seems to be also the choice of al-Bukhari in his Sahih. Because he said, يُؤَذِّنُ أَذَانَيْن وَيُقِيمُ إِقَامَتَيْن. Al-Bukhari in his Sahih said, you make 2 adhan and 2 iqama. And Imam al-San'ani rahimahullah fi Subul al-Salam, he said that. Imam Malik rahimahullah said this because the hadith Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu ardah. And that's why Malik said the same thing about Dhuhr and Asr in Arafah. He said you call 2 adhan and you make 2 iqamas. طيب. لكن الإمام مالك رحمه الله, just for record, just in case if you explain this more, you might find in يعني في الموطأ وغيره وفي المدونة, some of the answers for Malik do not support 2 adhan and 2 iqam. And the reason for this, because Malik said, whatever the Imam does, you follow. So if the Imam in Hajj make 1 adhan, you make 1, you pray. You basically you follow the Imam. You don't, because you want to unify people behind the leader. طيب. Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anh, it was reported that this is what he did: 2 adhan and 2 iqam. طيب. And also it was reported from Ibn Umar radiyallahu anh by Malik and others that Ibn Umar said, or Ibn Umar radiyallahu anh did 2 adhan and 2 iqama. طيب. Some ulama said that, Umar radiallahu anhu was reported that he did 2 adhan and 2 iqam. So Ibn Mas'ud prayed Hajj with Umar, and Umar did 2 adhan, 2 iqama, and Ibn Mas'ud did the same. Some ulama said, even if we agree that this is authentic narration, maybe Mas'ud did this because he following Umar radiallahu anhu arda, not necessarily that this is his opinion. Other ulama said, no, it is aqli, it's a logical. Why? He said, because basically if you combine between 2 prayers, they take the ruling of the prayer. So why would you make adhan for one and not make adhan for the other one? Yani if you say, but Isha time didn't enter yet, or Isha Salah is not time yet. No, if you combine between them, Isha time is at Maghrib time. That's why after Isha you combine the 2 prayers, you can make your witr right away. You don't need to wait until Isha comes. So logically, if this is the case, you should make adhan for Maghrib and adhan. What make Maghrib deserve adhan and Isha don't deserve adhan? So they said that. And iqamah for each one of them. And they said, since I prayed Isha on time and I prayed Maghrib on time, and each salah you prayed on time, it is sunnah or recommended for you to make adhan for it. That's their logic. The second opinion, they said no, 1 adhan and 2 iqama, and that's the vast majority of the fuqaha rahimahumullah. The old madhab of Shafi'i, one narration from Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, as well as Abi Hanifa rahimahullah, the madhab of Ibn Hazm al-Zahiri, Ibn al-Majashun min al-Malikiyya, Al-Tahawi, the great Hanafi scholars, Abu Thawr rahimahullah ta'ala, and Ibn al-Qayyim chose that opinion and supported it very strongly. And the evidence are overwhelming, very clear. And the most clear one is Hadith Jabir that we just said. And also in Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in Arafah. طيب, Hadith Jabir, you might say, oh, but Ibn Mas'ud said this, but Ibn Umar reported in a different way. That's right. طيب, يعني Ibn al-Qayyim said, leave this on the side. In Arafah, there is no two narrations. There is no two opinions. In Arafah, everybody said he made one adhan and two iqamah. Okay? Also, in Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, if this is the case, why would we do that? They also have a logic to counter the first one, the first opinion. They said the adhan that we call for Maghrib and Isha, the first adhan that we call Allah is not for Maghrib. It's actually for both Maghrib and Isha. So there is no point to say why we make adhan for Maghrib and not for Isha. Actually, we make them for both because they seem as if they are one salah. We combine them together. Is that clear? Because what's the point from adhan? Is to call people to salah. Good. Because we agreed that al-adhan is not necessarily to tell you that the time started it. And even if we say the time started it, we telling people that the time of Isha started it now. Because you combine between Maghrib and Isha. طيب. The third opinion, one adhan and one iqamah for both. Okay? And that's the madhab of Abu Hanifa rahimahullah. That's Abu Hanifa's madhab. And Al-Hanafiyyah used the hadith of Ibn Umar that I just said. He called one adhan and one iqamah. The narration that I mentioned it. طيب. Then they said Ibn Umar didn't mention adhan. And he only said one iqamah. And they mentioned Ibn Mas'ud as well. He did one iqamah. طيب. Anyway, so this is basically, that's their opinion. How many now? We have three, so? The fourth opinion, can anybody guess?
No adhan.
No adhan and one iqam. Okay, good. So basically, no adhan and one iqama. And also, can you guess the next one? Yeah, no adhan and two iqama. So those who said no adhan and two iqama, it's the madhab al-Shafi'i rahimahullah. In the latest or jadid, the new madhab of the latest position of Shafi'i rahimahullah. And also Imam Sufyan al-Thawri from al-Kufa. And Imam Ahmad rahimahullah in one narration. He said he combined between Maghrib and Isha with two iqamas and no adhan. Why? Because Hadith Usama bin Zayd fil Bukhari and Muslim, he made iqama for Maghrib and everybody stayed, rest a little bit, then he made iqama for Isha and he prayed. He said he never mentioned adhan in both. طيب. And they said, and Ibn Umar said, an iqama for each salah. Okay? But he did not mention adhan at all. There is, Ibn Shafi rahimahullah mentioned there is a narration, says he made iqama for each salah and he never made adhan. Walam yunadi, he never called adhan for each one of them. So that means that the narrator specifically mentioned that there is no adhan for the two salah. طيب. The fifth opinion, which is one iqamah, no adhan. And that's Ibn Abdul Barr rahimahullah mentioned it in his book, and he never told us who among the earlier scholars took that position. And they said that there is one narration, Sahih Muslim, he said he made combined between the two salah with one iqamah. Never mentioned ish adhan. There is even a sixth opinion, which is, it's interesting. The sixth opinion, قالوا, these different opinions, okay, so Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam maybe did this in Arafah, two iqamah with one adhan. And maybe he did in Muzdalifah, okay, two iqamah or one iqamah for both, or two iqamah with no adhan. قالوا هذا من باب اختلاف التنوع. They said maybe you can do this way and you can do it that way. And they said Ibn Umar once did this and one did that. Okay? So maybe that's the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was trying to make a point that it doesn't matter. You can make the adhan 2 times, 1 time, iqamah 2 times, 1 time. طيب. And he said, and this is not an issue. So sometimes when you combine between prayers, you can make 2 adhan, you can make 1 adhan, you can make 2 iqamas, you can make 1 iqamah. It doesn't matter. They said, كله واسع والأمر في سهل. And that's one narration from Imam Ahmad rahimahullah. And I don't believe that this opinion is strong at all, because the Nabi Sallallahu made 1 hajj and there is a consistent practice of the Prophet Sallallahu in this matter. And what I do believe is a strong, the opinion that is based on a solid evidence really will be the one that says 1 adhan and 2 iqamah. Because the Nabi Sallallahu didn't make multiple hajj, he did only 1 hajj. Okay, so you can't say you can do this and you can do that. That's not correct. And why do I choose the narration of Jabir over anyone else? 4 reasons. I want you to remember these reasons if you can, or at least understand them. Number 1, there is no one, as Ibn Abdul Barr rahimahullah said, have mentioned the detail of Hajj from the beginning to end except Jabir. None of the other narrators narrated the whole entire story. So that means Jabir radiallahu anh is really focusing on those narrations, and he is the most accurate one when it comes to the way the Prophet ﷺ made Hajj. Number 2, there is narration from Ibn Umar, and Usama bin Zayd goes exactly in the same line of the narration of Jabir, which is 1 adhan and 2 iqamah. So that means we have 3 narrations agreed with each other. Number 3, when we look at the narration of Jabir, you never find any narration from Jabir where the narrators contradict themselves. It's not like Ibn Umar, one said 2, one said 1 from, you see, or Usama bin Zayd. There is nothing was like kind of sounds contradicting. Jabir is consistent all the time. لا يوجد اضطراب في روايات حديث جابر مطلقا. Okay, so that give hadith Jabir more authenticity, of the narration of Jabir authenticity. By the way, guys, when we say there is a contradiction of the narrators in hadith Ibn Umar, I don't mean Ibn Umar himself contradict himself. It means the narrators from Ibn Umar. So the tabi'in, the successor or the follower successors, one time they narrated this way. So the khalal or the chain of narrators. Also, one of the reasons I say 2 iqamah, because Usama bin Zayd said 2 iqamas. طيب. Anybody knows where was Usama ibn Zayd when the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went from Arafah to Muzdalifah? لا, he was riding in the same camel with the Prophet ﷺ. كان رديف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من عرفة إلى مزدلفة. How this will benefit us in our discussion? Excellent. So he was right there when this is taking place. So that means it's not like Ibn Umar, Al-Hajj, there is 10,000 people or more. Not everybody can witness. Not everybody can know what's happening. That's right. So when Usama bin Zayd said 2 iqamah, means he's there. He was with the Prophet ﷺ, prayed with the Prophet ﷺ right at the front. Because let's say you are like 20 lines back there. You will not hear the second iqamah. You will not hear even the adhan. But Usama bin Zayd narration considered for us very valuable, when he said 2, because he knows what the Prophet exactly did in Muzdalifah. Okay? Also, if there is no need to repeat the adhan, okay, there is a need to repeat the iqamah. Why? Because the adhan to call everybody from distance to come to the salah. Khalas, everybody gather. But the iqamah is to tell the people around you that there is another salah gonna start. Can you imagine if there is no other iqamah? And Nabi stood up and said, Allahu Akbar. Maybe he praying sunnah, maybe nobody knows what's going on. You have to understand, that's the first time to make hajj. And the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is not like people question him. People, you have zero background. That's why Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when he prayed Dhuhr and he said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, nobody said anything. Nobody said Subhanallah, nobody corrected him. Because he is legislator. So they didn't know. They said, Ya Rasulullah, did as-salat al-dhuhr became 2 rak'ah? Or you forgot? One of the Sahaba said that. And guess what? He's one of the Sahaba who was not even known, Ismu Dhul Yadayn, the man with the big hands. That's how they describe it. He came and said, Ya Rasulullah, he said, I didn't forget and I did not, and the salah was not shortened. He said, you pray 2 rak'ah. He said, no, I didn't. He said, no, you did. This hadith rejected the position of this extreme group who's saying that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ya'lamul ghayb, he knows the unseen, or madri ish, all this exaggeration about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and giving him this status over his human status. He forgot sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he kept saying, no, I didn't, and he was wrong. He looked at Abu Bakr and Umar, shuf al-adab, shuf the respect. They didn't open their mouth. Wallahi, astaghfirullah. And if one of us there, he said, no, you did. It's like speaking. But the adab, the respect of Abu Bakr, nobody opened their mouth. Then Nabi looked at them asking. He said, Ya Rasulullah, you pray 2 rak'ah. So my point is, in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if he did not make another second iqamah, make perfect sense to make people aware that the salah will be called. So that's why I do believe narration of Jabir radiallahu anh should take precedence over any other narration. From this hadith also, we know that the sunnah is to pray Maghrib and Isha in Muzdalifah. Okay? It doesn't matter, you arrive at Muzdalifah at Maghrib time or at Isha time. Even though the famous position of Imam Ahmad is, if you arrive to Muzdalifah before Isha, you pray Maghrib by itself and you pray Isha by itself. Okay? And some said, no, you wait until Isha comes and you pray them together. And I do believe that these opinions are not correct. Why? Or not strong at all. Why? Because what is the hikmah of combining between the 2 prayers in Muzdalifah? Anybody knows? Anybody been to Hajj? To sleep and to rest. How is it after Arafah, Shaykh Ammar? Exhausting. Muzdalifah is the sweetest sleep you can ever have in your life. That's right? Everybody go to Muzdalifah said, I slept even in the most uncomfortable place to sleep in whole Makkah, in whole Hajj journey. But everybody remember, I slept like a baby. Even though I never agree with that term. Baby don't sleep. I don't know why I say sleep like a baby. Baby don't sleep. Wake up every minute. Anyway, going back to the point. So the hikmah is after all this long day, exhausting day, you know what? You need to rest. That's why you pray between, combine them and you go to sleep. Question. How many times the Prophet made Hajj? 1. You guys are sure about that? Can I shake your confidence a little bit?
You already told us that you
Okay. Actually, there is a debate on this issue. It's not agreed upon. All of Ahl al-Ilm agreed that the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, after Bi'thah, after he became a prophet, he made one Hajj. And after he became a prophet, he only made one Hajj. But there is some narration said that the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made Hajj before he became a prophet.
But how can you make Hajj if you didn't know how to?
Oh, Hajj was a common practice.
But wasn't the exact same way?
يعني, I can tell you the way that we do Hajj is 95% the same way the kuffar of Mecca used to make the Hajj.
But like for example, the
Or 90%, or 95% maybe.
but like they didn't have salah, right?
The same, where people of Mecca got this from? Ibrahim. Because Hajj, the way we do it is the same way Ibrahim did it. So they inherited this from Ismail, who taught by Ibrahim alayhi salam how to make Hajj. That's why the Hajj was common, the same concept. Tawaf, there is Jamarat, there is Safa wal Marwa, there is Arafah, Mina, Muzdalifah. All this was not new. All this known to the Arabs. But there is different orders. And for example, Hadith Jubair ibn Mut'im, he said, one time I lost my camel. Also the timing. The kuffar of Quraysh used to change the Hajj season every year. They push it 1 month or, so they don't have it in the same exact time. They keep moving it according to their desires. So if they want to have a fight, because it's not allowed to have a fight during the Hajj season. So if they want to have a fight with someone, they push the Hajj. That's why the year that the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made Hajj in was exactly the 12 months that we have today. So even according to the Arab calendar at that time, it became exactly the way it is right now in that year, in the 10th of Al-Hijrah. That's why Nabi قال استدار الزمان كهيئته. Now we came back to the right cycle. Because they keep every year change it. So when the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made Hajj, it actually was in the right cycle. The way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created earth and the time and earth and the season of that month. Anyway, Jubair ibn Mut'im said, I lost my camel, so I was looking for it everywhere. He said, and I went to Arafah to look for my camel. And I saw Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam standing in Arafah. طيب. And I was surprised. I said, why is he standing in Arafah? He's Meccan. See, that's the difference. The people of Mecca, they will not stand in Arafah. Anyone from other than Mecca, other than Quraysh, stand in Arafah. But for them, they said, we don't stand in Arafah. Why? He said, because Arafah is outside the Haram. You know what the Haram is? Haram, it means the area which is forbidden for you to hunt, forbidden for you to pick anything that doesn't belong to you from the ground, money or anything like that. You leave it, you don't touch it. Okay? Clothes, whatever, you don't pick it up. And you're not allowed to hunt. And you have to put your ihram, and if you're making nusuk, you have your ihram before entering this place, or this, I'm not going to do the ihram, sorry. Just you're not allowed to hunt and you're not allowed to pick the laquta of it. طيب. They say, we are the people of Mecca. We always stay in the haram and we don't go to the hill. We don't go beyond that border. That's why they didn't used to go at all in Arafah. Where they stand in Muzdalifah. And every Arabs, they stand up in Arafah, except Quraysh, they stand in Muzdalifah. كذا showing off. طيب. So that's why he was surprised why Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Arafah. He's a Qurashi. He's not supposed to be there. He's supposed to move to. And that was a Hajj season. And that's before the Nabi ﷺ was sent as a prophet or a messenger. Because of this, some of the ulama said, that shows you that the Nabi ﷺ made Hajj with the people of Mecca before, but he never called shirk. He never, because the people of Mecca, when they make talbiyah, they used to do shirk. They said, لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك إلا شريكا هو لك ملكته وملك. يعني, oh Allah, I respond to you with sincerity. You are the one who have no partner except a partner. You have no partner, so contradictory statement. You have no partner except a partner. That you control him and he doesn't control you, that partner. Because they never believed that the deities and the gods and the idols that they pray to are equal to Allah. They always believed Allah is higher than anyone else. They always believe Allah is the creator. But they never believe that He's the only one can be worshipped. That's where the problem was. Anyway, so because of this, some ulama said he made Hajj once, at least we know, before Bi'tha, before he became prophet, and once after Bi'tha. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. And that goes back to an interesting concept, which is to document or to read about the Prophet ﷺ's life before the message. And I have a lecture about that. It's called The Man Before the Message, or something like that. I gave it a long time ago. The reason I don't care about this concept much, because the Nabi ﷺ is not a role model or a source of legislation before he was a prophet. So that's why we don't go to caves to worship Allah or to seek like reflections. That's why it's not sunnah to go to the cave of Hira. That's nothing. The Nabi never did this after Bi'tha, to show you that's not the way that Islam shows us. Yes?
Before the Prophet was a prophet, he was known as like a Sadiq al-Amin, and he also like would stay away from like authorities and doing like things that would ruin his like reputation, his name, his honor. So is it in some ways, was it like a role model?
Maybe the word role model is not a best choice of word. I agree with you. But what I meant, he's not a source of legislation. We don't take rules for Islam from something happened before the Nabi was sent as a prophet and messenger. But definitely he's a role model as a good man or good man. It's like many people are role model for us as well through their behavior. That's why you can't take rule cannot be driven from that era. That's why you will find the ulama never.
Married at 25, for example.
Huh?
Getting married at 25 years old is being something.
Yeah, he married at 25 or whatever any example can be given. So we don't take rules. That's why you will find the ulama did not focus on that part of the process on life. Because it's not a source of legislation. Allah ordered us to follow Muhammad the messenger. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We'll stop here inshallah, and next time we're going to talk about an interesting topic, I don't know, which is the first and the second adhan of Fajr, and we talk about issue where Ibn Maktoum, he would be told Fajr, Fajr, then he goes and he call adhan. Question, when they tell him Fajr, Fajr, what that means? The time Fajr start. So they tell him he's blind, can you imagine? And then he goes, and he go to the place where the adhan call. Isn't that few minutes? And Nabi said to people, eat and drink until you hear his adhan. That's right? That's became a problematic. How can you eat and you hear his adhan? And his adhan actually starts after the actual time started. That was something the ulama rahimahullah debated. And this hadith, some ulama that's why you see some people in the adhan going on still eating. One of the things that they use is this particular narration. So we'll get to know how to understand this narration, inshallah, next time. And I think we're almost like done with that. There's a beautiful, there's only one hadith left after that, or two, about what should we say when the adhan is called, and all the narrations that has to do with that. Anyway. What do you mean?
So either he was on a journey, or he was
So Nabi Sallam in Tabuk for 6 months, he been joining and shortening the prayer.
and he shortened.
Yeah. في Mecca, he stayed like several weeks on, he shortening the prayer. So in Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, there is a plenty of evidence of that. But we don't have any evidence that the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam shortening the prayer before he left. Let's say he's about to leave Medina on a journey. He will not pray Dhuhr 2 rak'ah, then he leaves. He only do that after he leaves the city.
The other side to us today, for example, if we were to leave, let's say, into wherever else, knowing we're coming back to our homes here, but we know the exact duration. Especially for those who was an expedition and they didn't know when they were going to come back. But if we know the duration, whether it's 2 months or 2 weeks, it is still permissible to pray Qasr.
He said, if I know, let's say I'm driving, and I see, coming from Dallas, and I see the woodland, it's say after 20 miles. And I'll be in Houston in 20 miles. And it's not even Asr time. Can I pray Dhuhr and Asr? Combine Dhuhr and Asr? Yes. And many Sahaba did that. Anas radiallahu anh, right before Medina, he prayed, he joined the prayers. He said, that's rukhsah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you join the prayers, you don't need to worry about it when you come in here. And also makes sense because sometimes even when you come back from traveling, you're tired, let's say Maghrib and Isha, you prayed it and you're tired. You know, I'm going to be very tired, I'm just going to go sleep. So it makes sense if I prayed Maghrib and Isha in the airplane or in the airport before I left, even if I'm going to come here like, let's say 10 p.m., I still can pray Isha. But you could be tired. It makes sense even, the hikmah of combining apply to you when you even arrive. So yes, the Sahaba radiallahu anhu did that, and there is nothing in Sharia prevent that at all. Yeah, you're a traveler. You still didn't arrive to the city yet. So you pray Maghrib and Isha. If you arrive and you have not prayed Maghrib and Isha, obviously you're going to combine between them, but not before Isha time. If Isha is not entered yet, the time is not entered, you cannot pray before time. Because the reason for joining, unless you are sick and tired, that's a different case. Because you can joining the prayers for other reason than traveling. Tiredness, but has to be occasionally done. Exams, meeting, some like out of the ordinary. But I need from next time, class we're limited to 40 minutes. So at 40 minutes we just stop and we take maybe 5 minutes questions. So 45 minutes, 50 max, we end the talk. Because it can drag and I can keep going without realizing. Yeah, just make sure that we have that, so inshallah. And don't feel shy to do that. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.